Welcome to the Hello Road Podcast. I'm Ethan.
I'm Paul.
And I'm Brad.
That's Brad. We'll get to him in a second. If you're new here, which you probably are because we haven't been doing this for very long, we're a podcast. We talk about old and forgotten cars and driving them to interesting places and the adventures that we have on our cars. So that's what we're all about. And our guest today is Bradley Brownell. I'm pronouncing that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good.
Close enough.
Yeah, a.k.a. Brad Sport, a.k.a. Turbo Brad, a.k.a. the face behind the Radwood car show, that kind of thing. So what's going on, Brad?
Yeah, I'm in LA, rode a motorcycle from Reno. I live in Reno. That's not close to LA. For people who don't know geography, it goes Reno and then like Egypt and then China and then LA.
So why did you do this? It sounds terrible.
So the long and short of it is Indian motorcycle company loaned me a bike to go to Portland in February. And I've had it all this time. And it's a big long distance cruiser. And the only way to really test it is to go on a big long distance cruise.
Yeah.
So I decided that, you know, they still haven't asked for the bike back yet, but I just said, hey, I'm driving it down to LA and you're going to take it because it's been sitting in my yard for 2 months.
Okay.
So,
yes.
So I decided to take it down to LA. I drove from Reno to San Francisco yesterday, which is 200 miles. And then I went all the way down the one today. I left at 7 o'clock this morning. It is now, 7?
Yeah, it's almost 8. Yeah, almost 8. Yep.
So
you saw some elfin seals along the way?
I did.
Okay.
No rabid squirrels, though.
No squirrels. It was a good time. Gorgeous. I mean, absolutely beautiful day. It was a little chilly this morning. And I did catch a little bit of rain leaving the peninsula in San Francisco. But, I mean, holy cow. It was just absolutely beautiful.
You took PCH the whole way?
The whole way.
Okay.
It's a long,
windy, beautiful road.
And there were, you always get stuck behind an RV and you always get stuck behind gawkers going 30 miles an hour. And it's a little annoying.
Oh, look, the ocean again.
I've never seen that.
Let's slow down and take a picture.
But there were so many times where I would come around a corner and just go, oh my God.
Yeah.
And just like the views are spectacular. Just, yeah, it was amazing. I'm so glad that I did it. It's way different in a bike than it is in a car. Yeah. The smells are different. Like you can smell the brine.
Okay, I didn't really think of that. Yeah.
It's so good. It's really cool. Yeah. So it was a good long 12-hour day on the bike and everything hurts. But it's all good.
Worth it.
Yeah.
Was that the first time that you had been down that part of PCH before? Or?
I did it in a car 4 years ago.
Okay.
And this is my first time on a bike.
Okay.
So this is my second time overall. And so once in a car, once on a bike.
It's like once you go down it one time, you always want to go that way going forward. Like if you're like living in LA and you drive up to San Francisco, you're like, well, let's just take PCH. It was such a nice drive, but it
only takes twice as long.
Yeah. It only takes twice as long, but it's such a nice drive that you it's hard not to do it. I've done it just only one time, but it was very memorable.
What were you in?
I was in my Mini Cooper that I had.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. My wife and I had driven up for the IMSA, when they used to race IMSA. Well, they still race IMSA, but it was ALMS at Laguna Seca. We used to go every year. And one year we decided...
Year?
This was 2005 when we drove up.
Okay.
And
so R8s, not R10s.
Correct. R8s, no R10s yet. It was, and that was pre-RS Spider, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, pre-RS Spider.
That was 06 was the first year of that.
So cool, though. But it was an amazing experience. My wife, that was her first time going with me, and she got to actually go and enjoy all of Carmel and Monterey in the Mini Cooper while I was at the racetrack. I had gone.
I would have made my wife go with me to the racetrack.
Well, she did go with me on when we were there for Sunday, which was after the IMSA race.
Sure.
But it was her. Excuse me. It was her first time at the racetrack, but she had seen me driving Laguna Seca and Gran Turismo and stuff, and she knew how important it was to me. So she went and had a good time. The first time she was standing next to the gate, like watching the race cars. I think it was a Spec Miata race or something. They were still running Spec Miatas that weekend, like just the regular old Spec Miatas as part of the race weekend for like IMSA. But she's standing at one of the barriers, I think, right before, I guess, what is now the Cooper Tires Bridge. I haven't been there in a few years now, but so what is that?
Michelin Tire Bridge.
It's now the Michelin Tire Bridge.
Yeah.
Turn 4. They've changed a few things. They've changed a few things. Yeah, it's been probably almost 5 years since I've been up there. But she was standing at one of the gates watching the cars, and I was like, "Isn't this great?" And then one of them crashed right in front of us. So that pretty much was the end of her wanting to watch any sort of racing at the racetrack. But I did make her go up to the top of the corkscrew to see how awesome it was.
Yeah.
But overall, she got to experience more of Highway 1 because she got to do the 13 mile drive around.
Oh, yeah.
Is it
17?
17
miles.
It's a number.
When you go off,
additional miles.
Yeah, you leave the one and you go out on the peninsula.
Yep.
Yeah.
So she got to do that.
I thought about doing that today. I did not. It would have added another hour.
Yeah.
One of the most epic pictures. She took one of the most epic pictures of my Mini that I kept and I still have. I should probably frame it and put it up on my wall. But it was taken from that drive because she was out there driving it, and she was having a good time because it was a manual transmission. So she was out there tearing it up, having fun. So
nice,
good times.
Yeah. So you didn't just do this for fun, obviously. I mean, there's the fun aspect, but you plan on writing about this. Is that?
Yeah. So I'm gonna.
You're not just a masochist. You are a masochist.
I am. I'm definitely a masochist.
All right.
I'm going to be reviewing the bike for Jalopnik.
Okay.
As of right now, I am the only person that writes about bikes at Jalopnik.
Oh, interesting.
Because Andrew Collins had an injury and he still doesn't have full use of his left hand. So pulling that clutch lever is a little little difficult. Yeah. But he's getting there.
Yeah. We can get some twist and go scooters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I told him he needs to get a Honda, either a Goldwing, which has an automatic,
or a Spree.
The new Goldwing is really amazing. It's the competitor to what I'm riding right now. They're both about $30,000.
All right.
But the Goldwing is a little bit better because it's more modern, it's quieter, it's more comfortable.
That's the one that has an airbag on it, right?
It has an airbag and it has Apple CarPlay.
That's cool.
That's insane.
Apple
That's
Bike
crazy.
Play. Yeah. But yeah, so I told him to get that, or the Africa Twin comes with a DCT now. You can get a dual clutch.
Oh wow.
On a bike.
All right.
Because it's a desert bike, so it's like you don't want to, change gears and you run out of traction in the, whatever.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I know nothing about bikes. I had a Tomos moped. That's about my extent of my.
I love
knowledge.
mopeds. I'm a huge moped guy. You can take that multiple ways.
Okay. Yes. All right. Which way should we take it?
However you want.
All right.
I am a huge guy that's into mopeds.
Okay.
I am also a big moped brain.
All right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll be writing about it for jalopnik.com. I write there every single day, 7 days a week. I do week nights and then both days on the weekend all day.
All right. Do you sleep at all?
Not usually.
Okay.
No.
All right. Because I know you do some other things too.
I also run the site Flat Sixes. It's a Porsche specific site. I do all of the editing and occasionally post myself on that site. I do all the social media for that site as well.
Okay.
And then I'm a co-founder of the Radwood car show.
I've never heard of
it. What's that?
No idea.
No clue.
Probably won't talk about that at all today.
No.
Okay.
This whole podcast exists in a way because of Radwood, which is interesting to think about.
It's true. I didn't. Yeah, that's true. I wouldn't have met Paul.
Yeah, no.
There are people that are coming together over this thing that we made that was like just a thing for us to do with our friends.
Yeah.
And now it's like a big thing. So yeah. Feels weird, but it's cool. It's awesome. We'll get into it later, but yeah.
Hashtag the Radwood effect.
Yes.
On podcasts.
Something like that.
And everything else.
Yeah. So what's going on with you, Paul? What have you been up to?
Oh, let's see. Car-related stuff, not much. Being a homeowner is just a ton of fun, and continuing the flood repair.
Yeah.
The flood damage repair in my house. Getting there, put some drywall up, and it's good stuff, but this is not really a home improvement podcast, so I'll stop on that one. But we're getting there. We're going to put the floors down soon, and it's going to be great. My kids can have their playroom back.
And then you'll sell the house.
No. I love
Get all that work
house.
done and then sell it.
I know. We did that to my previous house.
Okay.
And we like this house. It's close to family and schools and everything. And it's also close to an In-N-Out.
All right.
And
yes, that's important.
It's very important. I love In-N-Out. So yeah, that's pretty much the reasons why we're staying there.
Okay.
Other than that, car-related stuff, nothing crazy. I got to wash the Honda Fit finally, the first car wash as an owner. It was not very momentous, but
really, oh, okay.
But
it's clean now. All
it's
right.
clean now. It's all good. I did get some splatter on the windshield. I don't know. I saw Brad's bike when he pulled in here. The what are those called? The butterflies that we have going around.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, they're everywhere.
The
painted ladies or something like that.
The painted ladies, that's what they are.
Well, I only know that because my wife knows it, and
I got a bunch of them on the 944 when I was down.
Yeah.
For Coastal Range.
There's many of them.
Yeah, they painted my windshield and front end of the car, so
yeah,
that's what they did. So I guess they must have paint in them or something.
Yes.
So yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Just kind of sitting here with doing one of my things I always do is I get inside my head with what I want to do next to a car.
Okay.
And I don't have as many cars as you.
That's a good
Brad.
thing. That's a good thing. We'll get into that too.
That is a very good.
So I just have two, but I sit here and I'll think, what do I want to do next? So like my Daihatsu is pretty much good to go. There's not much more that can be done to it to make it different. So I'm trying to figure out what would be a cool next step for it. And I'm having difficulty with that.
I still think you should autocross it.
I definitely want to autocross it, but there is actually technically two things that need to get fixed on it before I'd be okay with taking it out on the course. And that would be the control arm ball joints are torn. And let me put it better.
They're rubber boot?
Yeah, they're collapsed actually.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it makes things a little.
And are those available?
Well, the best part about being the self-proclaimed president of the Daihatsu fan club of president and only member. I think there's maybe 3 members in North America. Is that parts are an absolute pain in the ass to get.
Yeah.
They have the control arms available at AutoZone of all places. I don't know if I trust it. They're very expensive for what they are. It's a Daihatsu. So in my mind, I'm like, well, I could just buy the control arms and fix it. Or what if I press them out and try to find a ball joint that would fit in there and do the job just as good and not spend $130 a piece on the control arms?
Sure.
So
yeah.
Because, after that, you're looking at nearly...
It's basically research versus just buying, trying to figure that out versus just buying the part.
Done.
Yeah, and that's the thing with it is the car's going to have to go down because it would go to my buddy's shop where he's got space for it, and we'd put it up on the rack, take the control arms off, and then I can take the measurements and go figure it out.
Right.
So it needs to get done before we autocross it, but I did figure out what tire size and everything would work because I definitely think it would be awesome to get it out there on the autocross course because I don't know if a Daihatsu's ever been autocrossed. It might be very interesting.
Oh, I bet they have.
You think?
I bet they have.
Back in its day, possibly. Yeah,
I bet they have. Somebody out there somewhere is running a Daihatsu.
I've looked everywhere. I've sent up the signal. I've done everything I could, and I cannot find anybody.
I once ran a Ford Aspire. So
nice.
Yeah.
You autocross the Ford Aspire?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. My wife used to have one of those. It was a good little car.
It was a good car.
Yeah. How was it for autocrossing?
Not great.
Okay.
It runs in the same class as like Austin Healey Sprites and stuff, like small British sports cars from the 60s.
All right.
And so it's like small engine, doesn't handle very well.
Yeah.
We'll put you in this class. And my car had a bunch of modifications that were like more for necessity than performance.
Okay.
And they were like, oh, well, this kicks you into this class. And I was like, I don't really care. I'm just out here to have fun.
Sure.
You know, you don't race a Aspire because you want to be competitive.
No.
So,
you race it because this is the only car you have.
yes.
It's funny now. This whole episode's about to change into let's talk about Brad's Aspire. I never knew you had an Aspire.
It was a great car. I bought it for 2 Baconators and a mini keg of beer.
Okay.
Basically what happened was it was a friend of mine that was on a forum. We were talking about forums before the show. I was on the Grassroots Motorsports forum for like a decade. And I was like the number 9 highest poster on the site. I had like 150,000 posts.
Oh, jeez. All right.
That was where I
didn't do anything else.
No, I didn't. That was during college. I would basically log on anytime I was in front of a computer. And like in between classes, they had computers in the hall that you could log into. And I would like leave my class, go to one of those, type on a forum, and then go to my next class.
Oh, wow.
So like, I was on the forums all the time. And it got me into trouble a couple times when I was at work, but after I actually had a career. But anyhow, this guy had this Aspire. He took the transmission apart to repair it. They didn't get something right. So the synchro for gear number 4, it wouldn't stay in. So like you would hold the gear in 4th and it would
kind of
still
like the Scirocco.
Like my Scirocco, yeah.
It would still pop out.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I tried to fix it. It didn't work. I need it gone. Somebody give me like $600 for this thing. And I was thinking about it. I was like, I don't really have $600. I'm a college student. I have like no money. And then he was moving it and the garage door fell on the back window and shattered the back window.
Oh.
And his wife was like, get it out of here. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to hear about it. And so he posted, whoever comes and gets it, the keys are in it.
Wow.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And I was like, done. I'll be there tomorrow morning. So I drove and picked it up. I had never driven stick before.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it was 190 miles away.
That's the way to do it, though.
So I had to learn.
Sure.
I had my friend literally drop me off. He's like, do you want me to wait? And I was like, nope. I'm going to figure it out.
Yes. If I'm here all day.
And luckily, it was a snowy day. So I could.
Luckily?
Yeah, luckily.
Right?
No, luckily, because I could do a burnout instead of stalling.
Yeah. So it's, Okay.
So it had some slippery.
Sure. Yep.
So it was a little easier to kind of learn clutch uptake and all of that. So it was actually not bad.
All right.
The downside is without that rear window, it was very cold.
Yes.
Forgot about the rear window being missing. I
So
was caught up on the stick in the snow part.
So for 190 miles, I drove home in the very, very cold. The heat did work, but it was not enough to.
Well, the heat doesn't work very well in those cars anyway.
Right. Yes.
I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
So I ended up putting I bonded in some Lexan for the rear window, and I just dealt with not having 4th.
Sure.
You skip shift from 3rd to 5th, and
done.
Yeah, so you just rev 3rd all the way out to $7,000.
Yep.
And dump it into 5th, and it goes boom.
And that is a 4-cylinder, right?
Yes,
I can't remember.
That was a 1.3 liter 4-cylinder.
I do remember that because when my wife Angela bought hers, she's like, I didn't want to get the Geo. That was her choice:
Yes.
Geo Metro or the Aspire. She wanted 4 cylinders, not 3. Yep.
I think the Geo would have been better. Aspire's not a very good car, but I do miss it dearly.
Sure.
Because I could just rail on it, and it just kept delivering. Like I put probably 50,000 miles on that car before it finally quit. the transmission actually stuck in gear. I couldn't get it out of gear.
Yeah.
So it was stuck in third or maybe it was second. And I was on the highway and I was downshifting to get off at my exit and it stuck in second.
Yep.
And I was at my house was like a block away. So I just had to
just lug it to get there.
Yeah, to try and get home.
Okay.
And I did get home. And then once I parked, I was like, well, I live in an apartment. I'm not going to rip this transmission out.
No.
So
leave the keys in it and have somebody else pay it forward.
Post up on the GRM forums.
I did, actually.
There you go.
A Lemons team got it because it had a set of Miata daisies on it.
Okay.
I bought Miata wheels and put them on. And because they had good tires, and that was the whole reason that I bought those wheels.
Yes.
And I think they were $100 on Craigslist or something. So they bought the car for the wheels, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna use a bunch of parts from this thing."
Sure.
They got it back to the shop, and they were like, "Dude, this thing is bad." I was like, "Yeah, I could have told you that. It's rusty. It's nasty." They're like, I think it's just gonna go to scrap." I'm like, "It's your car, man. I don't care."
That's funny. Well, it's good that it's funny that you have like fond memories of it, because we were talking about this before. Like I have some, you think about old shitty cars, and like a car isn't going to have a good story unless it stranded you at least once. And
never got stranded.
You didn't get stranded, but
never
like
got stranded.
it is a car that, was cheap and you get to beat on it and that kind of thing.
I moved from Michigan to Atlanta in that car.
All right.
I packed everything I owned in the back of that car. I pulled the back seat out, threw it in the trash. What do I need a 4-seater for? I'm at this time, an 18-year-old, I would have been 20 college grad.
You need more space for activities, so take the seat
21,
out
22, whatever. Yeah. So I pulled the seat out. I was delivering Chinese food with it for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the nut that holds the locating arm on the front lower control arm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. The nut backed off while I was driving, and the wheel just went into the fender.
Okay.
And I found the nut, jacked the car up, put it back on, kept driving.
That's funny. I was hoping that wasn't going to be a zip tie story.
I walked back and found the nut in the road.
Oh, geez.
And just put it back on and kept driving. I had to make my delivery, man.
Sure. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, jeez.
And then it had some electrical issues when I got it. I don't know why, and I didn't fix them. But what I did was the headlights didn't work and the taillights didn't work. So I just wired them straight to the battery. So wire to a switch at the pedal to the back.
Okay.
And then wire to a switch in the dash to the headlights.
Okay. Yeah.
And so the switch in the dash was a wall switch for a house.
Nice.
We did that in the race car. Yeah.
And
it's perfect for that.
And to get the wire to the rear, I used self-tapping screws to go up the A pillar or up the B pillar and then across the roof back to the.
Did the screws poke out of the metal? The sheet?
No,
they didn't. Okay.
No, I found the ribs.
Yeah. Okay.
I found the ribs in the headliner. So yeah. Anyway, enough about my Aspire.
No, we love the Aspire here. This is the Hello Road podcast.
Yeah,
this
we gotta talk about.
We're not talking about Porsches.
The radiator fan switch quit too, so I just put another. I wired that straight as well.
Nice.
So when I would be in traffic, I would have to remember to turn my fan on.
Yeah. Yep.
It's funny. I wanted to do a similar setup to that on the Daihatsu because it'll heat up. And I don't know why. It's 3 cylinders. Why are you heating up so much? But I want to just put a switch on it to turn it on because it'll click on right before it gets to the super red zone. But it's I don't know, like Sonic the Hedgehog when he's in the water and he's drowning and he has to get to the bubble and it's that's kind of what I feel like every time because the fan will kick on right at the last second and then it starts going back. So it's one of those future mods I'd like to do that I had to just for peace of mind, but maybe not with a house switch though. Maybe
do it nicer than what I did.
Maybe a cool push button or something like that that says something
like a flip up, like engage switch.
Yes, a flip up switch like you used to start like NSX.
Something important.
Something important.
Yeah.
I mean, you really. I mean, I'm still doing this today.
Okay.
Just bodging stuff together and making it work. Because like the 912 you've driven, and it has one of those switches for the fuel pump.
Yes. Yeah.
It's fine.
It works. It works.
All of that electricity going through 12 gauge wire is fine.
I think it's fine.
Function over form.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
I mean,
it's worked for 20,000 miles. So
yeah, that's kind of the way I approach vehicles because I just don't really want to bother fixing them. So, if, cheapest way possible or just kind of ignore the problem is usually my approach. Yeah. That's why most of my cars don't work.
Also, we may as well dive in.
Sure,
getting to this problem of having, in my case, 10 cars.
Wait, I thought you had 11. Did one of them go away? You just lost count.
Yeah, I may have lost count.
Because I have 12.
Behind the barn.
I think I have 12.
Okay.
You have I thought it was 11. Maybe it's 10.
Are we both counting the 944?
I'm not counting the 944 because technically I don't have it yet. So.
Okay.
So yeah, it's kind of for those listening, including my wife who doesn't know this yet. Just kidding. She's not going to listen to this podcast. Who am I kidding?
Yeah.
But yeah. Brad and I co-own a Porsche 944 Turbo.
Yes.
It's currently in Reno. Haven't gotten to drive it
500,000 miles.
Yes. Oh, and actually, did you listen to the Spike Feresten podcast?
Yes. Yeah.
Where Seinfeld was talking about that car. And I was like, oh, Seinfeld watched one of my videos. He was talking about the 944 Turbo with 500,000 miles on it. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so we own that car. And have you driven it lately?
I moved it around my yard.
Okay. Well, we don't need to get into that, but we can talk about the woes of owning multiple cars. And,
So the problem with owning all these cars is like you were saying, you have a problem with figuring out what you're going to do to your car next.
Right.
I don't have that problem.
I
know
have
it needs
a
to
list.
happen.
I have a list, and I just have to keep whittling away at it. And there's always something to be done.
Yeah.
It never ends. There is not a time where I go, I wonder what I should do next. Because something needs to be done.
That's a good
one. One of my dumb cars doesn't run for one reason or another.
Yeah, and the best day, with a vehicle is the day you buy it. Because you're like, oh, this is all. Oh shit, nothing's working.
Yeah.
And then you have many of them.
And I tend to make cars worse. So there is that problem.
Tend to is a understatement.
Yeah. I make cars worse.
Home Depot light switches.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't do that so much anymore.
I mean, didn't you drill holes in the back of your 912?
I sure did.
Okay.
I sure did.
All right. I mean, it looks
I did that
coolish.
I did that during there was an intention to that.
Okay.
I was at 912 Rendezvous with all of the Concours guys. And they were polishing their cars for the car show.
And you're like, I'm gonna drill holes in my car.
Hole saw. Let's do this.
Oh geez.
So yeah.
Okay.
I drilled holes in the back of my car.
All right. Yeah.
Speed holes.
It looks pretty cool. That's what it's called. It's speed holes.
Yeah.
Because there's a panel on the back of the car where it usually says Porsche. It's a reflector, a Heckblenden if you're German.
Yeah, it's funny how I didn't really realize what that meant until a couple days ago. I feel really out of the loop.
I just learned right now.
Yeah.
Heckblenden.
There's a great group on Facebook called Heckblenden.
Okay.
That you need to join. It's awesome. It's just about those connectors between the taillights.
If you ever get another dog, you should name it that, I think.
That's a good name for a dog.
Great name for a dog.
Great name. Or a kid.
Yes,
maybe.
You can call him Heck for short.
A Heckin' doggo.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's a guy that makes these speed holes, and it's a replacement for that panel that just has holes in it. And it mates up to a panel, like a backing plate behind it. And in order for it to look good, you have to drill the holes out so that it actually is a speed hole. Otherwise, it's just a hole on top of metal.
Yeah, because I've actually seen that. I think don't quote me on this, but I want to say I've seen it maybe on some Singers, or maybe not Singers, but some of the more like
definitely some modified
911s and whatnot.
Singers,
I've seen that modification into it. There's a lot of race car Porsche 911s I've seen it on too. Of that.
The
vintage.
R Group guys do a few of them. The guy that we got the turbo from, his 911 has it. So, Captain Chaos.
Oh yes,
the turd brown 911. That's loud and fast.
Yes. So multiple cars. Like you said, too many problems you have to kind of deal with, and I think there's a few of them. Like for instance, I've got the Chrysler Fifth Avenue. I've had that for a while. My problem is I buy cars as a joke, as jokes, which is not really a great reason to buy a car. And
I've done that.
Yeah,
I bought that MG midget as a joke.
Yeah,
and it didn't pan out.
No. So the Fifth Avenue, my '87 Fifth Avenue. I mean, it's a great luxury, quasi luxury cruiser. It's not great. It's actually pretty awful. But the Stanza wagon, that was also a joke purchase, which currently isn't running at the moment. But the Fifth Avenue, it took so long to get this thing to pass emissions and actually try to get it. So I really thought that I would buy this car, fix it up a little bit, get it to pass smog. There's got to be tons and tons of people that are going to want this. Tons and tons of people. Coming
out of the woodwork.
Yes. Turns out there are 0 people. So, I'm not a good car flipper. I've definitely realized that. I'm a terrible car flipper.
Yeah.
If you're going to want to flip a car, don't buy a 1987 Chrysler Fifth Avenue, especially one that is barely passing smog. So.
I have never in my life sold a car. So.
Okay.
That's it. That's an interesting.
Yeah. They either go to scrap.
Yep.
Which has happened a couple times.
Okay.
Usually because something really bad breaks, or it was a really bad car to begin with and it just ended up nasty.
Yeah.
But that's not true. I sold my first 944 to a friend when I moved from Ohio to Reno.
Okay.
Because it didn't make sense to ship a $1,500 car.
It cost you more. It was
$3,000.
Yeah.
It was $3,000 to ship a car. And it wouldn't make sense to ship it. So I sold it to him for less than what it was probably worth.
Yeah.
Just to be like, get it out of here.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem that I'm having with some of these cars. It's like I know there's probably a couple other people in the world that would want a golden Chariot, 87 Chrysler Fifth Avenue, but the time it would take to find that, and I have to have this car just sitting in my yard for a year.
Yeah.
And it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
So yeah, it's rough having however many cars I have. But we bought my wife a new car, and her previous commuter car.
Sure,
there's nothing wrong with it. We just need to sell it.
Yeah,
and
just
haven't got around to it, and it's been 4 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, insurance is costing us $6 a month, so it's not like it's costing me anything to have it there.
Sure.
But it's just there.
Yeah, it just sort of becomes the lowest priority. Okay, you got a lot of other things going on. Yeah. And if you got the space for it, I guess that's the other problem. It's like if you move to a place where you actually have the room for the cars, that's my problem. I moved here 5 years ago, and then it's like, oh, I got room for a trailer. Oh, cool. I got room. I can store my race car in the garage. Oh, I have, and it's large enough where I've got a couple of driveways where I can park a few over in the corner. I don't even have to look at them. So it's great. It's good for a hoarding situation.
My whole backyard right now looks like a used car lot.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I guess when we moved into our house, or when we were looking for a house, I was looking for something like that with like a RV type parking. But my wife really kind of tried to steer me away from it because she knew what would have happened. It would have turned into, let's be honest, it would have turned into a Daihatsu dealership, basically.
Yeah.
But now I've only got the room for
they only had 2 models. So
sure.
They'd have 2.
Well, and I guess they are small enough that you could probably fit 2 in one garage space. I would think.
Probably, yeah. I would think so.
So yeah, you don't even need a large yard. That's great. It's great for have a small car collection.
Yeah. A small car. Yeah. I like that small car collection. Yeah, I try to say that 5 times fast.
I ended up. My excuse was, I've got this YouTube channel. I need cars for content. Cars for content.
Because your YouTube channel is making you big bucks, right?
Tons of money. Yeah. A full maybe $200 a month. It's amazing. It's really. I mean, you start off small.
Yeah.
But yeah, that didn't really quite think of the fact that I didn't really necessarily need to buy the car to do content with it. I could maybe make a few friends here and there and drive their cars, but that didn't really think of that.
Yeah.
But that's how I ended where I am. And it's
there are worse problems to have.
Yeah.
It's not a great problem.
No.
But there are worse.
And the good thing is that each of these cars was, the Fifth Avenue was $1,500. The Stanza was $1,500. They were all super cheap cars. So I don't feel terrible. I mean, I don't feel like I don't have car guilt because they're all garbage. They're not all garbage. Some of them are garbage. There's a few that I really like, but
car guilt's a real thing right there.
Yeah, and I did buy them thinking that I actually want to do something with them. I want to take them on some trips and some adventures and that kind of thing. So
right.
But yeah,
you've done a lot of that too. I mean,
sure.
The Prism's been on a great trip, and
that one's dead.
Yeah, I noticed when I pulled in. I was like,
but that was an amazing trip in that car. It was totally worth. I paid $1,000 for that car. I got an amazing trip.
That was in Arizona or something?
Utah. Yeah.
Utah.
Yeah. I flew up to Salt Lake City, Utah, bought this car sight unseen from a guy that I didn't know really. I mean,
and it made it home and then it died.
But yeah, I stopped at all these amazing places along the way, Perro and Gap in Utah, and then a whole bunch of other places along the way. And it was just for the trip alone, it was worth $1,000.
Yeah.
So now I have a dead car sitting in my yard, but I don't feel terrible about it because I got such a great experience out of it. So the cars that I didn't have a chance to do that with, I'm a little bit more bummed about. Like the Stanza died way sooner than I had expected. So I didn't really get to do any kind of grand trip with that one.
What's dead on it?
Well, it's not. It basically has
a fuel leak, right?
It has really the biggest problem with the Stanza is that the wiring harness is kind of falling apart.
Oh.
So it's very difficult to troubleshoot. Like you turn on, you press the brake and the headlights turn on. You turn on the turret signal, the tachometer bounces up and down.
Sweet.
All sorts of crazy stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that car
Who needs any of that?
No, that car's sitting just because it's not like you can find a Stanza 86 Stanza wagon wiring harness just readily available. So
sounds like Home Depot. Here we come, though.
Yeah, it's going to be basically hard wiring everything. And I just don't really want to do that.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah.
We got to keep it though, because of all the cars you have, I think that one is probably my
least
favorite.
Safe? Okay. Yes.
Well, it's the least. Well,
yeah.
I think it's fine.
It's probably okay.
You don't need B pillars.
Nope.
Who needs those? But
obviously not.
I love that car, and I'd love to see it get up and running again, because it's one of those ones. I mean, you don't see the majority of the cars in your collection. You don't see every day, but especially a Stanza wagon.
I will get it fixed at some point. But it's not high priority. I could deliver it to you if you'd like at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it'll fit in the driveway. My wife would love it. She'd be like, "What's this?" Just don't
worry about it.
No,
don't worry about it.
It's fine.
Not a big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, are you I know you said you haven't sold any cars, Brad, but are you is that something you need to do soon?
Yeah.
Because I feel like the burden of cars is really weighing on me right now.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's not fun.
Right.
Cars should be fun. You shouldn't look in your yard and be like, "Oh my God, this is like a problem."
Yeah. Yeah. I've realized that sadly the Audi is not fun anymore.
Oh.
I made it real bad. It's so horrible to drive now.
Okay, so this for those who don't know, you need to quick
it's
Cliff's Notes version of what you fucked up with this car.
95 Audi S6 sedan.
Rare car to begin with.
Yeah.
I mean, they're rare, but they're not valuable. I mean, it's like a $4,000 car on a good day. Yeah. So it's not like a problem, or I didn't ruin anything because nobody would have bought this anyway. Yeah. And it wasn't in great shape. Like the bumpers were all wrecked, and it's a pearl white car, so you're never going to be able to color match that bumper anyway.
Okay.
So it's not worth fixing. It was fine to begin with. It was just a little bit boring, and I wanted to do something crazy.
Yeah.
So I lifted it like 12 inches.
Mm-hmm.
And I put...
It's good look.
Yeah.
It's good look on the car.
Yeah. It looks great.
Okay.
But it's still like I need to tear apart the front end of the car again because there's something binding in the top hat. So I need to take that apart, shave down the part that's binding, and then put it all back together.
Okay.
But that's like a 3-hour job.
Yeah.
That I just don't have 3 hours.
No.
And it would need a lift, so I would have to go to a guy's house, put it on a lift. I need my own lift, really.
Yeah.
And unlimited time.
Sure.
Basically win the lotto.
Yes.
Then I can fix all
Okay.
of my shit. I have to play the lotto first.
Yeah.
Also, I live in Nevada. We don't have a lotto. But anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a few barriers here, but we can get through that.
So the whole
Roadblocks,
thing
if you
is
would.
I turned like a sporty sedan into an off-road kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's not fun to drive. It's clunky. It squeaks.
Yeah.
I mean, the suspension needed some work before. Like the bushings are a little bit past their prime.
Okay.
And like it needs like $1,000 worth of suspension shit. And it's just,
Yeah.
I don't know when I'm going to do that.
When do you want to put $1,000 into this car?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It sounds. You know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like a gambler car.
It does sound like a game.
I would gamble it. I think it would be fun in Gambler. It may not make it.
Then you can leave it in the ditch,
Yes.
and then
And it's not my problem anymore.
No.
it's not your problem anymore, and you don't have to sell it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So there you go.
The Rad 44 I was ready to sell.
Okay.
I wanted to sell.
I was just curious because is that like the Radwood? Is that your car or is that sort of Radwood
It
Collective?
is my car.
It is your car. Okay,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure
It
if this
was
yeah.
it was owned by the company. I just opted to not take money for a while and now I own
okay.
it. So
Now you own a car that you don't want.
well, it's a great car.
Okay.
It's an excellent car.
I mean, it's 944. So yeah.
Yeah, it drives great. It's a lot of fun. And I was just like, we've kind of done what we need to do with it. I'm probably gonna fix a couple of things and then put it on Bring a Trailer.
Okay.
And then I took it on Coastal Range and fell in love with it.
Oops.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I think it just earned itself another year.
Okay.
And then maybe I'll fall out of love with it again
Sure.
in a year and
Yeah.
sell it. The turbo I adore. It's so much fun,
Yep.
but I have had zero time to go to the DMV, get it registered, put new tires on it.
Yeah.
Like all of the things that you should do in the first week of ownership. I've had it for 4.5 months and have not done any of that.
Well, I mean, I do sort of figure like if we figure out a plan to get the car down here somehow.
Yeah.
I would probably
I've planned multiple times to do that
Yeah.
and just never had the time to follow
Sure.
through.
I haven't had time to go up there either. So
Yeah.
But yeah, if we plan to figure this out, get the car down here, I'll probably sit on it for 4 months. So, so like, oh yeah, I got all these other cars I got to deal with. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the thing that sucks is it's such a great car. Like the interior is gorgeous.
It's really nice.
It's a
Yeah.
nice car. It drives
Yeah.
great. It's got a power steering leak, and that's it.
Yep.
There is nothing wrong with that car. It starts, runs, and drives like a dream.
Sure.
Don't have time.
Yeah.
It sucks. This is a bummer of a podcast.
We're talking about, oh man, why don't we talk? Well, let's change gears here because I feel like we sound like, I mean, we're complaining about having too many cars.
Yeah,
it's like there's many
totally.
other things that are going on in the world where we're like boo-hoo,
Right.
Okay, so
But it's just one of those things that it's not a problem.
no, it isn't.
It just weighs on your soul
Yes.
of like, I have all of these things that like, I feel like I'm letting the cars down.
Sure. Well, and you had these
yeah.
ideas and you had plans for the car, you like things you wanted to
Yeah.
do with them, and then you just realize, okay, well, it's just not realistic given the amount of time you have, and that's kind of what I've come into too. Where
And like, if I'm going to work on a car, I'm going to work on the 912
sure,
because that's the one
The one you like
that's
the
my
most.
forever car. That's
Yeah.
the car I'm going to have always.
exactly.
So I'm making it more me
Yep.
and I'm keeping it up.
Sure.
Yeah. So
So since we talked about the Rad 4.4, we can maybe segue into Radwood a little bit. And,
Yeah.
And I know, Paul, you had some. You actually, Paul was prepared. He had some actual questions.
I did.
Some specific questions we can ask you about.
Let's answer some questions.
Yeah,
then.
this is the question round, lightning round.
My computer died, so I'm gonna have to go off of.
We spent too much time.
We spent too much time.
We can plug that in if you
I
want.
have the plug right here.
Yeah, plug it in.
Let's see. It's okay. So Radwood.
Yes.
I've never heard of it. Ethan's never heard of it either.
It sounds.
What the hell is it, Brad?
Yeah.
It's like it's like the root of a tree found in northern. I don't know.
Are you trying to lead up to some sort of joke?
It was a bad joke.
Okay.
Radwood is a automotive lifestyle experience for 80s and 90s car enthusiasts. We try to basically we started this show in 2017 with a few of us and our friends renting a park in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And we're like, give us, $5 or whatever, $10 to cover the rental of the park. And we had a taco cart, and that was about it. We didn't expect it to be a big thing. We expected it to be, 50, 60 cars maybe. Between our cars, we had 10.
Yep.
And
well, if nobody shows up, at least you got something.
Yeah, at least we got something.
Right.
And people just signed up like crazy, and we had something like 200 cars there at the very first show. And so that like kind of opened our eyes, and we're like, oh, this is a real thing.
Yeah.
And we looked at it and we went, cool, we'll do this again next year. And then like a week later, Jalopnik contacted us. I had just started working there, and it wasn't like the two were related. It was somebody wrote a piece about the show and submitted it to Jalopnik, and they went, whoa, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And so they posted it on their site, and it got a bunch of hits, and they're like, when are you doing the next one?
Yeah.
And we're like, good point. Maybe we should do another one. So that was when we did LA 2017 we're like, well, if there's a crowd for it in San Francisco, there's going to be an even bigger crowd for it in LA.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we went to LA, and 400 cars showed up.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the first one that I went to.
Yeah, you guys were both there.
Yeah.
And it was bigger and better than we expected. We put a lot of effort and soul and whatever into that show, and it was amazing. It was, over the top. It was a ton of fun. And we've tried to contain some of that energy in all of the shows that we've done since. Yeah. I think we've done 10 shows now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we did 2 in 17, we did 5 in 18, and I guess we've only done 2 this year. Well, we had the pop-up one last weekend.
Sure. Yep.
Or just
2
days ago.
2 days ago.
So,
it's a whirlwind.
Yeah. It's crazy like how this thing has grown into like a community. I mean, we have people on Instagram following. There's the Facebook group is blown up. It's hard to wrangle 11,000 people. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I can understand. Yeah. Is my car rad?
Right. So yeah, it's a little crazy. It's a little wild, but yeah, Radwood's awesome.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because like when I first heard about it, it just for me it really clicked because it just sort of pieced together all the things that I was already thinking. Yeah, it pieced together. I was because I grew up with the cars of the 80s and 90s. Yeah, and this is the things that I had nostalgia for and the things that I loved. It was oh, that makes total sense. I'm totally excited about going to this show that's talking about this era that I love so much, especially because I make music too, and a lot of the music I make sounds like it's from that era, and there's all that kind of clicked for me, and yeah, and it wasn't surprising when I came to LA. I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a thing.
Yeah,
it was pretty obvious to me.
Yeah. And I hope that it continues to grow and get, even bigger than it is. I think we may have reached the maximum amount that we can do in a year.
Yeah.
This year's going to be real busy.
Yes.
Things just seem to be popping up. It's just like there was the Fort Lauderdale one with the auction. That just, a couple weeks prior. Oh, we're doing this, and then
it came up really fast.
And then the just announced Vegas show was just like, oh, okay,
wow,
and that was
well. And this coming weekend, we're having. It's not really a show, but we're doing the merch booth and like 10 cars at Formula D in Long Beach.
That's right. It is this weekend.
Yeah,
they already have it all set up down there. Okay,
yeah. So I'll be there. I don't. Is this going to be up there before then, or probably not?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be up there.
All right.
Yep.
So yeah, if you're listening now,
yes,
go to Formula Drift.
Exactly.
And you'll see me there.
There you go.
There you go. Both days, Friday and Saturday.
Awesome. So we've had a lot of different shows. I mean, Radwood has had a lot of different shows. Out of all of them, is there one that stands out as your favorite that just had the cars that were really like spoke to you, or is that kind of like choosing between your favorite kids or your favorite dog?
No, I think that for the magic of it, the first LA show is still probably my favorite because it was.
Me too.
Yeah,
it just, it was a really good show. There was a huge variety. It was a decent venue. We had some issues behind the curtain that don't really matter to the people that were there, but
sure.
But it photographed well. The tent was really cool.
The tent was really neat. Yeah.
And it worked really well. I loved Austin, the show that we just did last month.
Mm-hmm.
Was it last month? Yeah, it must have been.
Last month.
And that was, it's the first now. So it was 2 months ago.
It's April Fool's Day. How could I forget? My entire Twitter and Instagram feed has been filled with nothing but like.
This is actually a joke podcast. We're not going to post it.
This is a joke podcast, by the way.
Pranked.
Wasted your time, Brad. Not even recording.
This whole computer is fake. So Austin was amazing. Both the level of car that came out and the variety was amazing at Austin. And there were so many cars that I didn't expect.
Yeah.
Like it was a serious like treasure trove of JDM stuff. There were so many people with right-hand drive cars. Because
lucky bastards.
Right. Because Texas
they're not in California.
Doesn't care.
Yes.
Texas, you can register friggin' anything. It's great.
I don't want to talk about it. I'll get sad.
We can't talk. Being in
and
California, this makes me
Philly
really
had a little bit of that too because
sure.
they, everything's imported through the ports there.
Sure. Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, you would think that people would get Japanese cars from this side of the country, but no, they go to the other side because it's legal there, I guess.
There's a big reason. This whole entire state.
But I mean, yeah, realistically, they're all a ton of fun, and they're hard to appreciate in the moment because it's like all the work possible.
I think the last the Sonoma show, I saw you for about
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Yeah. It was like, hi, Brad. Bye, Brad. You're busy. I'm going to go walk away now.
It's funny you say that because I feel that way as both LA shows that I have attended. I've felt that way too, where it's like, I enjoyed it tremendously, but in the moment, you're just, oh my gosh. So I got to see this. This person's asking me 30 questions about the Daihatsu or something.
So and the fun thing for the people that organize it, and this is probably too inside baseball, it doesn't really matter. The fun thing is like we have to give awards to all of those cars.
Yeah.
And we have like 30 minutes to walk through and see everything and go, okay, what stood out?
Yeah.
And it's really difficult sometimes. Like I wish we had a bigger crew.
Yeah.
I wish that we had more resources to allocate toward like running stuff while we were, but it's so over the top. It's so, I mean, you were at Atlanta.
Yeah.
And even that was like the smallest one we've done.
Sure.
And it was the lowest key one that we've done. And it was
Yeah.
still run around like chickens with our heads cut off.
It was a lot
Like,
to do.
It was
it's
a ton of
very,
stuff
very
to do.
hard to put on an event like that.
Yeah.
Even with not that many cars.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right.
Next question.
Ooh, next question. We're going to move on. So late last year, early this year, we posted up about the world tour.
Yes.
So are we going to these
that
countries?
happen?
It is. It is still happening.
All right.
Some dates have been moved around.
Okay.
Japan is very difficult to work with.
I can imagine.
So we've had like 3 venue changes and 2 date changes, and it is happening. We have a date for it. It is ready to go live. We are trying to figure out how to take yen.
Okay.
Got it.
That's the only issue.
That's what's holding it up right now is like Eventbrite, the site that we use for selling tickets.
Yeah.
It's figuring out how to do the legal stuff with Japan, and like it's
Okay.
just it's a little difficult, but we are going to make it happen. UK should be pretty easy.
Mhm.
Right.
At least there's no language barrier there.
Right.
So yeah, that's going to happen. We have a bunch of venues and a bunch of dates to like ready to go, and we're just waiting on one thing, and then we're going to launch the full schedule.
Cool.
So I wanted to go into this year with a schedule set and ready to go. It didn't quite work out. We had a bunch of stuff kind of pop up on us. So
Right.
it is still happening. We are still doing like 14 events this year.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's so awesome that in such a short amount of time we've gone from the show in the park in San Francisco
Yeah.
and then the
Yeah,
first
2
LA
years.
show to we're going to Japan.
Yeah.
We're going to the United Kingdom and I don't even know what's going to happen in the future where you guys are going to go. I don't know if you're going to go to Ulaanbaatar or something, which would be awesome. I mean, I don't know what the car culture is in Ulaanbaatar, but
Probably not much.
Yeah.
You never know. Like the Top Gear guys go there, or Grand Tour guys go there all the time. They love it. But it's just so awesome to see it growing so fast, and it's I don't know. Maybe the musician in me is just likes to associate things with it, but it just kind of feels like when a new musical fad starts to spread really fast. Maybe like rock and roll, or even rap or something like that, or metal. It just like it's growing, and it's growing so fast, and that's kind of the next thing. So what's going to happen next?
I think instead of more, we have to focus on better.
Quality
So,
over quantity.
Yeah. So
But
I
even
think
though all of them are of great quality.
sure,
Yeah.
yes, but I think that each one we
Probably
want to
learn a little bit from every single one.
Totally.
Yeah.
absolutely, and I think that like I said, we've reached the maximum that we can do in a year.
Mhm.
It's just a matter of securing the right partnerships to make things work, like say live music, or demos of like more skateboard stuff, or
Yeah.
more I have this vision in my head that will probably never come to happen, but I have a vision of Radwood becoming like Goodwood Festival of Speed mixed with like a Bonnaroo mixed with an X Games.
Yeah.
Like all of that in one weekend mixed with like the Monterey Historics.
Sure.
Like put all of that on one bill, and that's my vision of like the ultimate Radwood.
Right.
Whether or not that ever happens, I mean that has a recipe to become a fire festival that I don't know that we'll ever have the resources.
Buy your tickets now.
Yeah, exactly.
Buy your tickets now.
What influencers do you have lined up for this?
Yeah, exactly. When I kind of joked about doing an Instagram tile that was teal, Just a teal tile that
Yes.
says, But
Yeah.
anyway, I don't want to do anything with Fire Festival.
No.
I wouldn't call it bait and switch. I
Sure.
would call it.
Yes.
No, but I mean, from a fan looking in, that's an absolutely epic thing, because I know there's different things like Grid Life is an example. I know you guys partnered with them for the Atlanta show.
Yep.
Where they kind of mix that whole music and racing and track time type of thing with
and it
car
seems
shows.
to work. Like the reason that they do that is, there's only so many people that you can put on a racetrack at one time. So a full weekend schedule of track day stuff, all of those people are paying in, but how do you get more people in the gate? Like, you don't want to go watch a track day. Nobody wants to go watch a track day.
Right.
So you bring in the artists, you bring in a festival atmosphere, you bring in the camping, all of that kind of stuff, and you turn it into like a Woodstock for
and there
cars.
just needs to be more stuff like that happening. Anybody who's into cars, that's not all they're into. And,
right.
And I actually went, I went to the Grid Life, when Radwood was there, went down and shot that video.
Right.
And I went in expecting just to hate it.
First time I went, I expected the same thing. I was like, this is going to be terrible.
Yeah. I mean, number one, I was never really into drifting, so I kind of went in with a negative attitude.
Sure.
So I was actually kind of surprised that I went down there, watched the drifting. I was like, this is pretty cool. And in the fact that they had the music stuff going on, I really feel like there's an opportunity there if you can get people out to. I mean, obviously, it'd be really hard to get people out to like Buttonwillow, to go see.
Come to the middle of nowhere.
That's a little bit. That's a little bit of a challenge. But
that's the problem with Southern California is there's no racetracks that are anywhere.
No, they're kind of not any place you want to go.
Auto Club.
Yes,
but even then, it's like,
oh yeah,
why would you want to go there?
Sure, there's no reason to go to Buttonwillow other than you want to get on that track,
right?
Other than you want to smell cow farts and oil industry, whatever that smell is out there. But that was one of the things I thought about Grid Life. I really feel like there needs to be more, and that's another reason why I'm so into Radwood, is that there's a lot of things that can be paired with car culture that totally fit. And when I went to the LA show, just seeing the BMX bikes there, that just clicked for me. And I think that needs to happen more if it makes sense and it doesn't turn into a fire festival.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the thing. The real standout for me for that first show was the BMX demo, because those they were the stunt doubles, or they were the actual riders from the movie. Rad.
They were the actual were in the movie,
which was one of those movies I used to watch a lot growing up. I don't remember a whole ton from it except for the dance scene with that song, the song. I forget what song that was, but
Send Me an Angel.
There you go. Thank you. And then somebody doing a flip out of a kicks bowl at the end. But it was still cool. It was still so awesome to see that. And then especially like with the skate demo at LA 2018 and the iconic photo of Sal Barbary jumping over the Rad 944.
Yeah.
I mean, really, what else can we do besides getting like maybe the Blue Angels to fly over this thing?
Right?
Or a Top Gun demo or something. So,
yeah.
So more music. So
yeah, I was gonna try and find the Japan date, but I can't seem to find it in my emails. I have a million emails.
Ethan and I you've never been to Japan, right?
I have not. No.
Yeah. So if
it should be in late June late June. So
if I buy a suitcase that's large enough for me, I'll go in the cargo hold. I'm cool with that.
I don't know if I'm going. That's
oh, well then. Well, just send me anyways. I mean,
Also, I think if
Japan
you go in
Post.
the cargo hold, you'll die.
I'll wear a oxygen mask. I'll be fine.
Okay.
I think
it's the cold.
I'll wear a jacket. A thick jacket. Yes. No, I've always wanted to go over there. And when I saw that got posted up, I was like, it's so awesome because I love Japan and Japanese cars. Yeah. And the fact that you guys are going to go there and just keep spreading the message or spreading the show out is awesome.
Japanese business television.
Ooh.
They came to Texas.
Wow.
They flew
Really?
to Austin specifically for the show.
Okay.
And they filmed there, and they interviewed Art because Art speaks Japanese. And it aired.
I did not know this about Art.
It aired on like, I guess the Japanese version of like what you would think of like 60 Minutes.
Okay. Wow.
So I don't know.
That's great.
Kind of neat.
Yeah.
That's gonna. I'm just envisioning that show to be an absolute bombardment of rad. It's just.
I hope so.
I can't even fathom how.
Right
cool
now,
it's gonna
I
be.
am cautiously optimistic. I have no idea what it's going to be. I don't know Japanese. I can't write a post on Instagram in Japanese.
Sure.
Hopefully it works.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one way
If
to
we
learn
make the right connection.
The one way to make connections, if you're part of the Daihatsu community, you have half of your people are from Japan, and they keep messaging you, and you're like, I don't know what you're saying.
There you go.
But yeah, you can. I'll send you some of their information. How do I post up about Radwood, Japan, Mr. Weird Daihatsu person?
And you can connect you to the all 7 people that drive Daihatsus.
Oh, it's huge.
I forget, because it is more worldwide. It's just not that.
Just
Over
not
there,
in the
it's
United
actually
States.
like they still sell them, don't
Yes.
they?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's still a company that sells cars. Obviously, that sells cars, but they have some amazing models over there. But regardless, we don't need to hear Daihatsu drivel from Paul.
Yeah. We'll get into that in every other episode.
Every other episode is Daihatsu drivel.
Yeah.
Cool. So I mean, Radwood is just. It's an amazing experience. If anybody out there listening has not been, you've got to go. Even if you don't have a car, I'm sure you've got a leftover fanny pack and some neon, some vintage Jordans.
Luckily, like it's a resurgence. Like you can go to most stores and find something that'll work.
I was in Las Vegas a couple weekends ago, and going into the different stores in the mall, like the Nike stores and stuff, it's neon and teal and pink everywhere. It's bitching. I think I was like, I've never in my life been like a Nike guy or a Jordan guy, but I saw some of the shoes and I was like, I like those.
Yeah,
I really like them, and it's not because of the fad. It's just
Reebok has a really good throwback set right now.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they're totally rad.
I got it. See, that's the thing. It's like
Well, I mean, you can. I mean. The outfit that I threw together for Radwood NorCal, which I won best dress somehow. I have no idea.
Yes,
that outfit, that entire outfit was purchased on Amazon.
Yeah,
the whole outfit.
Yeah,
I bought boots, I bought the wig, I bought the jean jacket, the fake tattoos. Everything was Amazon. Yeah. So if you got Amazon Prime, you're ready and set to win best dressed at a Radwood show.
Thanks, Daddy Bezos.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, same goes for like Goodwill and stuff like that. You can go there and you can
totally.
find some absolute gems.
I went to a Goodwill the other day and I got a members only jacket.
Yep.
Sweet. And it's mauve. Perfect.
Oh, those are nice.
Is it trigger mauve or just regular mauve?
I don't know.
I don't know the difference either. I've just always heard, it's trigger mauve. I don't know.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what it is either.
We'll have to
I just
look
have
that
to
up.
ask. We'll have to figure out what trigger mauve is. Cool. So yeah, I mean the shows, they're for, obviously for car enthusiasts is the main thing, but there's a lot of the culture renaissance. Like I saw at the last LA show, there was a lot of people there that were just taking pictures of their outfits, and the kind of the spectacle itself was just kind of background for them.
Yep.
So
that's especially true in LA because there's a lot of people that are looking for backdrops that are looking for like craziness or weird stuff happening. Or
there are a few Instagrammers here in LA. Just a handful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or wannabes.
5 or 6 or something.
Or wannabes.
Yeah. Well,
all we need is to get one of the Jenners to come and take like one photo.
Sure.
And then we're millionaires.
Then the next Radwood LA will be at Dodger Stadium parking lot where we'll sell out. Yeah, no, that's
what I want to avoid.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I want the show to be as big as it can possibly be, but like parking lots are not great.
Sure. Well, and at some point too, you can't see all the cars.
Yeah.
You just, if there's 1,000 cars there, you're only going to be able to see like 300 or 400 of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, NorCal was 600 cars.
Sure.
And that was too much.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like
I didn't see all the cars. Yeah.
I didn't even come close.
Yep.
There was a Ford Durango
Oh, I saw that.
I did not see, and I was like bummed.
That guy was cool. Yeah, his car, he autocross. Oh, he didn't autocross. I don't know if he autocrosses that. Yeah, he did autocross that. Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was pretty neat. Yeah, Ford Durango.
I've never even heard of a Durango. I feel
it's a car truck.
Yeah, it's a coach built Ford Fairmont.
okay.
Yep.
I got it. So it's kind of like El Camino, but a Ranchero, but something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it has this, and the taillights are in the tailgate. So there's this little warning label on the back that says, make sure you put the tailgate up when you drive away, because that's where your brake lights are. I didn't really think that part through, but
nice.
Keep the tailgate up.
I got it. Yeah, that's the thing of the shows. You see, every time a show happens and the posts start coming up, you follow the Radwood hashtag on Instagram is like what I typically do. And I think what the easiest thing is, you see just a whole myriad of different things out there. And that's the best part about it. Cause you're going to have, and not that it's a bad thing, but you're going to have your Testarossa. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. But it's going to be parked next to some Peugeot that they only brought 250 of them in here,
Sure.
and some guy has kept it because
we had 4 505 GTIs at the first show.
Yeah.
Like,
You had all of them. That
Yeah,
are
almost all of them.
Yeah.
and like NorCal last year, we had 959 F40 in view of a Geo Metro convertible lowrider.
Yes.
I mean, they're all right there. Like, they're not. We don't segregate. We want to keep everybody like we want people to interact with people they would never interact with.
Sure. Yeah, and it's nice to have cars that you had as posters on your wall as a kid, but also cars that you might have just remembered driving around when you were a kid, and you just are sort of surprised that there's still even somebody took the time, took the care to keep this thing running.
Yeah.
Over that many years for a car. That's what I'm always impressed with. For a lot of these cars, they should have been crushed by now. Many of them. There's my Chevy Nova twin cam. Even though they made only 3,000 of them, most of them are gone.
Yeah.
Most people it was just a car.
It was a disposable,
just a car.
Transportation unit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I'm trying to think who was the owner of the was it the Oldsmobile or the Buick?
The
Super
99. Yeah.
Right, and I think it was. I forgot. You're gonna have to forgive me here. Who it was that said it during the award ceremony? It might have been Matt.
It was
about this show.
That's
He's been waiting for this guy. The show is.
Are you talking about the intrigue?
The intrigue.
So that's Brad Hansen. He'll be our guest next week.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, fantastic.
It's gonna be.
That's him. We're putting the dots together.
Together.
Yeah, we're connecting
lots
the
of
dots
Oldsmobile intrigue talk. It's gonna be.
We're
great.
only gonna have people named Brad as our guests on our podcast. I hope you're okay.
You just
with
got
that.
a new car.
Yeah, you got a. I know you got a Monte Carlo Intimidator.
Don't understand it.
Intimidator edition.
All right.
I don't either. We'll have to talk about that with him.
Yeah.
But,
We're gonna have to because I know those. As long as the graphics are intact, add a lot of value to the car.
I believe the graphics are not intact.
Ah,
I think they were removed, but yeah.
Still got the stitching and the leather.
It does.
The bitch and stitching.
the bitchin' stitching, Intimidator edition.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, show-wise, Radwoods are great. We got a lot of good stuff looking forward to with all the different shows that are going to be coming up. So we're excited for those. The Las Vegas show is just in a few weeks. I think there's a possibility might be going out there.
Awesome.
We'll
I hope to not buy another car for that event. That's sort of it's been a trend for
I'll
me.
deliver one to you.
Okay, good.
And you can take it home.
Okay, we'll plan on that. Good.
that might be a lot more fun to ride than the Honda Fit.
Because I actually have a way to get home from Vegas.
Okay.
If I drive something that I don't drive home.
Okay, so I have to go to Vegas because
Yeah.
I get the
We're convoying
944.
down with 3 cars.
Okay.
And we're only taking 2 of them back
All right,
because you're bringing the other one home.
let's make
There
it
we
happen.
go.
Let's make it happen.
It's going to be a good time.
Gonna sit here in my yard for
For
4
4.5
months.
months.
So that's the next big one right there. And that came on as kind of a surprise when I saw it posted up. I was like, oh, well,
It's not that far.
it's not that far. And I was just there a week ago. So why not go back out there?
Yeah, what is it, like 3.5, 4 hours.
Yeah,
for
three
me.
and a half.
And you hate Vegas, so it's perfect.
Well, I liked it last
Vegas
time.
sucks.
I'm gonna raise my hand and say yes. I also do not like Las Vegas.
It's
I'm
a
sorry
very
for,
bad place.
Well,
But
like I
not
said though, last time
You had a
it's-
good time there though.
I did have a good time,
Because
but
you didn't leave your hotel room.
because I did because I took a 5-hour nap. But it's the outskirts. There's so much bitchin' stuff around there that you got to get out and see.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, just-
like
Yeah, just outside of Vegas is cool.
the Strip is not all Las Vegas. There is so much more cool stuff there.
Sure.
But in a
Okay.
couple weeks, it doesn't matter because Radwood will be there.
Sure.
That's going to be the
Yeah.
coolest thing on the Strip.
Yeah.
It's gonna be cool. We've got a few, probably 40, 50 cars signed up right now.
Mhm.
Most of the cars come in the last like 3 hours before the show.
Oh no, I gotta sign up.
I forgot.
So yeah, I mean, I hope that we get 400 cars or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a new market. We don't really know how, because like there might be car scene there, but they're like hidden.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
it's
I
weird.
think there is.
We're gonna see how it works.
Okay.
I mean, we're drawing a lot from LA and we're drawing a lot from Phoenix.
Mhm.
I know that. And yeah, hopefully everybody in Vegas comes out and has a good time.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a good turnout there. There's a couple importers that are out there too, so
Yeah.
maybe we'll get because Nevada
Mm-hmm.
obviously lets you just drive whatever you'd please.
No, not true.
Not true.
Not true.
I thought they did.
Not really. I mean, it depends on where in Nevada, but Clark County is pretty strict.
Okay.
Where
Hmm.
I live in northern Nevada, I have the same smog emissions laws as California. So,
Okay.
Oh wow.
The only difference is if it's 25 years or older, you can get classic tags, which are
Got it.
smog exemption, and it's $40 a year.
Oh, how I wish I could do that. How I
Yeah.
wish you could do that too.
That would be wonderful.
But it's
would
also
be
a mileage limit, which sucks because I end up
What's-
putting a lot of miles.
What's the mileage limit? Do you know off the top of your head? I'm curious.
6,000 miles.
Oh, okay.
That's doable.
yeah.
Yeah,
That'd be
That's
doable
doable
But
for
I-
me. Not you.
I've had like the first year that I had classic tags on my 912, I exceeded that in 1 month.
Okay.
Wow.
So
Yeah, you drive a fair amount. I mean,
I do. Yeah,
yeah.
I do.
I'm just driving from Reno to LA again.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm going home on Wednesday,
Okay.
packing the van,
Yep.
and then driving back down here on Thursday.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Life on the road.
Because I have to be back down for Formula D.
Yep.
So
Yeah. Well,
so I'm gonna pick up a bike tomorrow, Tuesday.
yep.
I'm gonna ride it home Wednesday, and then leave Thursday
Okay.
to come back to Los Angeles.
Okay, so we did make sure that everybody knows you're slightly a masochist and yeah.
So I figured it out.
Okay.
I grew up in the Midwest.
Yep.
Everyone in the Midwest has this like quasi Catholic guilt, like self-harm kind of enjoyment
Okay.
in doing terrible things.
Sure.
Like we lived through brutal winters
Yeah.
and we lived through like terrible driving conditions and
So when you moved to Reno, you just had to like find something that
Yeah.
could make your life terrible.
yeah, a little
Okay.
bit.
Okay.
And I think that's driving.
Okay.
No, the realistic part of it is like on the way down today, when you're riding a bike, you can't look at your phone. You
No.
can't.
Sure.
You're just focused on one thing.
Yep.
And because my life is so busy and I have so many things going through my brain all the time, like I have to write, I have to edit, I have to publish, I have to, all of these things.
Yeah.
I don't get very much time to just think about one thing.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a brain dump, emptying, like just
Sure.
focus on the road and just
It's very, very easy
clear your thoughts.
to be sitting on the couch and like, oh, I should just check Instagram again.
Yeah.
Oh, I could check my email again. Oh, I could do this.
Exactly.
When in reality, there's nothing you really need to see. Yeah.
Exactly.
You're basically creating these large expanses of time that you can't do anything else other than
Right.
think.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
And
it
you're not
gives
often
me-
coming up with your best ideas sitting on the couch next to your phone.
right.
Yep.
So it gives me some time to reboost.
Sure.
So like start from scratch and like empty everything.
Yeah.
And there are so many times where like I'll have an idea on the road, but I won't be anywhere where I can write it down.
Yeah.
And that idea is just gone.
Yep.
And there's something freeing about that of like, that's an article I don't have to write.
Sure.
Right.
Or that's a post on Twitter that I don't have to make or whatever. So it's kind of freeing. There's this thing in photography that's like, that one's just for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like looking through the lens and just not taking the picture and like that.
Sure.
That view, that's just me.
Yep.
So I kind of have that with ideas because I'm not a visual media kind of guy.
Sure.
I have that with mental ideas where like that one's just gonna be me.
No, I totally get that. Today I was sitting in my living room with my kid. She was playing with Legos, and I was like, I'll sit down at the piano for a little bit and just play.
Yeah.
And not record anything.
Nice.
And then it's just gone.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of nice to do that and not have to think about it and not have to be like, oh, I should turn that into a song. And now I have to spend like,
sit around with friends and talk about cars for a couple hours.
Exactly.
And not put it in a podcast.
Yeah. Exactly. We're not recording this. As I said, this is an April Fool's podcast.
That's right.
Okay.
Joke's on you.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep.
Oh, good stuff.
Man.
Any more questions?
Any more questions? Oh, there was a bunch of them, but yeah, we've moved on from those at this point.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are we doing on time? I think we've been talking for a good long time. I don't know if we want to keep everybody going because we can turn this into a 3.5 hour podcast.
Yeah,
or you could just cut it into 2 pieces.
We could do that too.
Part 1 and part 2.
Oh man, that's risky. That's risky.
Have you done a podcast before, Brad?
I might have.
I think.
And wait, and you don't do podcasts. I mean, you don't do your own anymore.
I quit.
Yeah, you're done.
I cold turkeyed it.
Yep.
One day it was like, they're all done.
Yep.
Never doing another one.
Okay.
There was a point where I was doing 3 shows a week.
Yeah.
And that was too much. And now I have like way too much work and not enough time to do it. So I don't even really have time to podcast.
Sure.
I definitely didn't have time to edit. So
no,
it all just like
throw it
went
out
away.
there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, we could split it into 2, but at the same time, I do have another question.
Came up with another question.
I did off the top of my head. That's the way I go.
Let's split it into 3. Keep it rolling.
Let's just keep it going. So let's think about it this way. So you start out doing podcasting.
Yes.
And is it a good introduction into this lifestyle? Like getting yourself to the point where I'm in a podcast with my friends, once a week. Oh, you know what? Maybe I should start writing some stuff and you start posting it up. Is this a good segue into and I'll use this kind of lightly, the auto journalist lifestyle?
Sure.
Paul just wants to know how to become an auto journalist.
How do I do it, Brad? Can you just tell me?
Yeah.
What are the secrets?
Tell me all your secrets.
How do I get cars dropped off at my house?
I still haven't figured that. Well, actually, I had a 488 Spider dropped off my house a while ago.
Just
488 Spider. It's really hard. I will say that, and it's probably not worth it. That's one of those masochist things where like it's way more work than it's worth. And the first thing is to consider what you want to do. Is like journalism is I don't consider what I do journalism. I consider what I do entertainment writing.
Okay.
Because I'm not doing a ton of research. I'm building on something that already exists. Or I'm telling my version of that story or whatever. And even like when I review a car, I don't really, people aren't coming to me for like the torque specs or the whatever.
Yeah.
It's more like, what is this experience like?
Sure.
Like, can I experience what it was like through your eyes or whatever? And I started doing it when I was in college. I was writing for my local SCCA chapter's newsletter. That was how I got started. And the newsletter, or being on the board of directors, I had access to a directory of everybody in the region, and I was in Detroit region. which is a very large region.
Sure.
So I had emails to everybody that was in the SCCA that worked at Ford, GM, Chrysler, all of that. So like I had, you know who John Heinrichsey is?
The name sounds familiar.
He was
I
a
just remember him racing. He was racing a showroom stock or something. Or
yes. He won a bunch of showroom stock titles.
That's right.
But he was an engineer with GM Performance for a long time.
Okay.
He developed, I think, everything from like the X11 through like the first CTSV. And he like had a bunch of Nürburgring lap records and a bunch of stuff. So like I just would go through the registry and I would pick out interesting people and I would send them an email and be like, hey, here's some questions. Do you mind answering them for the newsletter? And like that was kind of how I got started there. So the advice that I have is I did it for 6 years for free. Try not to do that. And don't worry about like overthinking things.
Sure.
You kind of have to dive in with both feet if you really want to do it.
Got it.
And don't hesitate to ask people in the industry for help.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have a story written and you want somebody to look at it, a lot of times they will, depending on how busy they are. But usually you can send something like just to a lot of places and they would go, yeah, I can publish that. I'm not going to give you any money for it, but I can publish that. And that's how it starts is I hate that you're paid an exposure, but that's kind of how you break into the industry is you offer your services and you prove that you're reliable and that you can put out print-worthy content on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
So like if it doesn't take a lot of editing and it's ready to go right out of the box and you can send it to them and they can go give it a read through, maybe tweak a couple of things and publish it, you're going to be a hit.
Got it.
So, maybe even before you send something to somebody, have a friend read it over or read it to yourself out loud and like make sure that it's sort of polished before it goes to somebody. And that'll get you a lot farther than, hey, I threw this together. What do you think? Photos are the big thing because a good photo will sell a shitty story better than great words with terrible photos.
Yep.
Especially in print. That's like definitely true of print. And it's about who you know. I mean, when you like being active on social media is how I have gotten a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the hazards of being in the business. And from a personal standpoint, I wasn't really noticed in the industry until I started doing stuff that was a little bit unorthodox, like going on 7,000-mile road trips in a 40-year-old Porsche or, Radwood. Like all of that happened in the same year. 2017 was like a big breakout year for me because I had a cover story in Auto Week that literally came out like 3 weeks after the first Radwood.
Okay.
So like that summer was like a huge summer for me. So I got back from my road trip 2 weeks before Radwood, I think. It was in the late spring. And then we had Radwood because I picked up the t-shirts in Michigan at my uncle's print shop.
Yeah.
And had them in the back seat of the 912 on my way back to Reno. And they were in a plastic like a clear plastic garbage bag, like a big garbage bag that you put like soda cans in or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
a really big one. And I just remember because I was driving and it was hot, and the plastic bag was just fluttering in the back seat the whole time for 3 days. Just.
Turns out that was your future fluttering back there.
Yes.
That was Radwood saying, "Hello, we're going to be big.
Yeah.
We're going to be big."
So yeah, I had all of those T-shirts printed up, and I think we sold half of them.
Okay.
We eventually sold a few more, and I think we gave the rest of them away. I don't know, but anyway,
Yeah.
very limited edition. If you have the original 944 T-shirt,
Yeah.
that's a keeper.
Worth something someday.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it could be said that in this day and age, with the way social media is set up now, things could be a little bit easier versus how it would have been.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
Because
100%.
when I graduated high school, 1999 at this point, my whole thing was I'm going to go to school and get a journalism degree.
Okay.
Because end goal for me, I'm going to go write at Road and Track or whatever the case may be. Obviously, that did not pan out. But that whole mentality is gone now. It's easier, but yet it's harder at the same time because you have other mediums too besides mediums.
Same difference.
Same difference. We're professionals here.
Yeah,
but you have you'll have your Instagrams, the Twitters, the YouTube, obviously, and
yeah,
there's different ways to get yourself out there.
Sure,
and sell yourself.
Yeah, I think it's mostly about kind of getting in with the crowd, like learning who the people are that are influential and making yourself known to them. Not necessarily like hounding them or whatever, but just like being on their radar.
Got it.
And usually with some body of work, especially for a Road and Track or a Car and Driver or whatever, they're going to look at people who are already established in car writing or other like tech writing or whatever.
Sure.
So if you take one thing that you're really good at or that you know really well and you focus on that, and you just like I've written 780 posts for Jalopnik in a year and a half. So
that's a few.
Yeah,
it's a handful.
It's getting your name out there. It's getting noticed. It's hard, but it's not at the same time.
I mean, you've got to be good at it. You've got to be able to know the.
Yeah, you have to be good enough.
Good enough.
There are people that are great. There are people that are less than great, but the people who get work are able to deliver on a regular basis, and it doesn't have to be like over the top crazy great every time. You endeavor for that, obviously.
Right.
But as long as it's polished and it's legible and it makes sense, that's the basis. That's the key starting point. And there is a little bit of meritocracy in this industry. You do have to be good enough.
Right.
But there's also it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Sure.
So there's a mix of both.
Mm-hmm.
You can be the best writer in the world, and if you're, stuck in your own little corner of the universe on a forum somewhere and go, well, that's good enough, I don't ever need to be, then you're not going to make it. You have to be charismatic, you have to be outgoing, you have to talk to these people and interact with their posts on social media or your own posts or whatever.
And it sounds like, based on what your approach is, that you have to be prolific and really do and work a lot.
You
really kind of have to
work a lot.
Keep just chipping away at it.
And you have to work a lot
and essentially don't give up. Don't give up on your dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
There's Neil Gaiman, famous author.
Yeah.
Somebody asked him, "How do you become a writer?" He goes,
"Right.
You write, and you don't stop writing."
Yep.
That's how you become a writer.
Yep.
Good way to put it.
Yeah. I know it's interesting too, because some of the things that you've been talking about are some of the things that I've been trying to do with my YouTube channel. And it's a lot of it is just, okay, let's see if I can be somebody that is, I have no business being in the auto industry. I'm just a guy that has no connections, no ties. And I'm going to see if I can just try to find the ways that I can insert myself into this industry. And then just all this, after a lot of hard work and a lot of meeting people, hopefully eventually become accepted in this industry and maybe make some money at it someday. And it seems like a lot of that is just a lot of plucking away at it.
It's I would never recommend somebody to do what I do. Never.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's the best job in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have to think that it's the best job in the world. Otherwise, you would cry yourself to sleep.
Sure.
But, there's a ton of sacrifices. There's a ton of work and effort and things that go into it. Like, you just have to not give up. And
I guess the other thing is, what else would you do? I mean, that's kind of the thing. It's like if you don't have a good answer to that, then maybe it sounds like you're on the right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I went to school for advertising.
Yeah.
And I didn't get an advertising job. And I, kind of lucked into what I'm doing now. So, I mean, I was pretty good at selling Porsche parts, but I hated it. So, yeah. I'm decent enough at this and I enjoy it, so I guess I'll keep doing it.
Yep.
That works. I mean, that answers the question pretty well. I think it's always kind of been my idea to get to that point, but I let too many things get in my way. In my case, I've got married, I've got 2 little kids, and it's just it's difficult to keep up with that, and a house and car payments and all this other stuff. So you can't just work for free. I mean, but at the same time,
that's for 6 years I did it nights and weekends. I was writing for a few places. I wrote for a Porsche magazine for a bit. For a long time I was writing for Hooniverse.
Okay.
For essentially free. They did start paying toward the end of my tenure there, but not much. And it taught me a lot to keep producing regularly. Like, I would have weekly goals that I set for myself on how many words I wanted to publish, how many individual stories I wanted to publish, stuff like that.
That's a good way to look at it.
And if you just get to a point where you're just trucking along and you just keep plugging words into the word machine.
Word machine.
Eventually, if it's decent, and you get, that's the only way to get better.
Sure.
Is to just do it.
Yeah.
Keep
maybe
writing.
Throw them away. Do it again.
Yeah. Keep writing. Have somebody look it over that knows maybe what they're doing, or that you trust, or, even having your wife look at it, or have a friend or an enemy.
Yeah.
If they look at your stuff and they can tell you, oh, I really like this turn of phrase that you used here, or, oh, you repeated this word a ton of times in this, which I still have a really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Yep.
There are ways to learn, and that's just by writing.
Sure. And would you suggest for somebody like Paul, just if you get some articles kind of written, just send them to people once you feel like they're pretty good, and just see what people say, and just try to get it out there, and maybe somebody will publish it.
Yeah. I mean, chances are, if it's good, someone's going to want to publish it. So, yeah.
Oh, it is great advice right there. Great advice for, obviously for me, but for anybody else out there that's listening, that, there's a lot of, I want to say, like, dreamers in this industry, especially like
totally,
that are looking to take that first step. And it's not often that you get to ask somebody with as much, credentials as you have,
Sure. Yeah.
to get that out there. So
I'm rolling my eyes, but yeah.
He did roll his eyes, but come on. The man has written so many articles.
Yeah.
So
A few thousand.
I mean, come on. So get yourself out there and try it. That's basically.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to go anywhere by not doing it.
Exactly.
If it's something that you really like, I used to shoot photography at Laguna Seca. I had a hard card. I would go there every event that they had.
Oh, nice.
And I would shoot there. And I would be on the other side of the fence with my vest on. And every single time I would have somebody go, "Hey, how do I get one of those vests?" Well, work for free for 6 years.
Yep.
And you'll get there. Yeah, so it's you're not going to get there just by saying, "Hey, how do I do that?"
Right.
So yeah, if you follow through on the advice, that's the key. You can get as much advice as you want, but if you don't follow through on it, nothing's going to happen.
Try it at home.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. Try
That's
it at home.
advice. Don't just listen to the advice.
Yeah. Advice is meaningless unless you follow it.
There you go. Try this at home. How about that?
Yes. Please do try this at home. And yeah, honestly, I'm looking for the next person to replace me, to take a job away from me.
Yeah.
I want this industry to be as big as it possibly can be. I would never suggest to people to do this. It's a terrible job. It's a time suck. Your family and friends are going to hate you, but and all you're going to think about and talk about and do is car shit. Which has been my life since like, I don't know, 2006.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's a lot of work, but it's fun. If it's fun for you, it's fun.
Yeah.
If you don't find enjoyment in it, it's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
The long thing that I've been telling people is you can teach a car enthusiast to do anything. So if you're enthusiastic about cars,
Sure.
you can learn to write well.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a great writer and you hate cars, you can't teach enthusiasm.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So, you can learn to write well by writing a lot. But I can't teach you to be happy writing about cars.
Yep.
Fair enough. No, that makes sense. We're good.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right.
Well,
Did we get through your computer died again? We didn't get through all your questions. We're gonna have to have Brad on again.
Yeah, there's like
when we actually record.
38 more questions, Brad. So
okay.
Yeah.
this is going to be an 18-part episode, but
Yes.
Yeah.
but we'll get to it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. What do we want? I mean, we've been recording for a while. We probably
Well, I'm down here all the time, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
next time I'm down, maybe I'll come back on. I'll be a recurring guest.
All right.
Recurring
Yeah, that sounds
guest.
awesome.
There we go. That works.
Sweet.
Very good. All right. So
You got anything else, Paul? I mean,
no,
yeah.
I've said enough.
Okay.
So
Let's recap.
So
Yeah.
let's recap everything. So
Yeah.
we're gonna start back at minute 1.
Yes.
No. Cool. So I guess with that, we'll talk upcoming events real quick. We've just got the Radwood.
When is Radwood? Yeah. What's the date? Vegas.
The 27th, right?
27th of April.
as
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
month.
Okay.
As in
month.
26
Yes.
days
Okay.
away from
Yeah,
now.
because today
all right.
is April Fool's Day.
Yes.
There's 3.5 weeks from
Wow.
now.
Yeah. I interrupted you, Paul. Paul, go ahead.
No,
Any other events?
no. We're good. Yeah. So we got that, and then Formula D, which I just realized is this coming weekend.
This coming weekend?
Yep.
And then the following weekend after that will be the Long Beach race, where on Saturday is the wonderful IMSA race.
Yes.
So go check out.
I have been before. I am not going this year. It is amazing. I love that race. I went either 2 or 3 years ago. I don't recall. But it was awesome. It was a lot of fun. And after the race, I was parked in media parking, which is in the middle of the track.
Okay.
And you can't get out until they shut the track down for the day.
Okay.
So during all the like drifting stuff and the support races and all that, I went and watched a movie.
There you go.
There's a movie theater right across the street.
Wow.
Just walked over there, saw Ghost in the Shell. It's pretty good.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. Great race. Go check it out for sure. Got Radwood the weekend after that or 2 weeks after that. It's going to be a fun-filled weekend.
Yeah.
Fun-filled month of activities
this
coming
is a busy
up.
month.
Yeah.
Very busy.
We
month.
actually have a month off of Radwood, I think.
Whoa.
I know. We were trying to plan an event, but it kind of fell through. So we'll see where that goes.
All right.
It may still be on. It might not.
Okay.
We'll have to wait and see. But
All right.
Watch
So
the Instagrams.
yeah.
Yeah.
So where can our listeners find you, Brad?
I am Turbo Brad on
With an
Instagram.
H.
With an H. Turbo H.
What is that H for? Come on, man. What does that even mean?
So
It's that whatever that piece is
It's
on
like
the back.
turbo, Brad.
yeah.
No, it stands for that piece on the back of the Porsche. What was it again?
Oh, heck blended?
There
No.
you go.
Okay, no.
When I got my job at ECS Tuning,
Okay.
we had a company 996 Turbo
Okay.
that I was able to drive on occasion.
Okay.
And so it was Turbo OH for Ohio.
There we go.
Brad.
Got it. Makes sense now.
Yeah.
Did not get that.
There we
Because I
earlier.
lived in Ohio at the time.
Yeah. I've been following you on Instagram for many years, and
I'm
had no
sure
idea what the
a
hell
lot
that
of
was
people
all about.
don't know,
Yeah.
and it's fine. I'm not going to change it now.
Okay. Yeah. You've been telling people too many times on podcasts.
Yeah.
What it is,
The
okay.
great questions have been answered tonight.
Yeah.
Turbo Brad on Instagram, BC Brownell on Twitter, Radwood Official everywhere,
Yep.
and Flat Sixes, Jalopnik, occasionally like Auto Week, Grassroots Motorsports Magazine, Excellence Magazine, Porsche Magazine there.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Anywhere where they're willing to give me money
Yes.
to
For
write.
words.
Yeah. And maybe a book soon.
Sure.
We'll see.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Teaser.
We're acting surprised. You may have already told us that before we recorded, but whoa!
I won't tell you what it is or
okay.
where or why, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And Paul, where can we find you?
We could find me on Instagram at charade_life. And because Brad plugged his Twitter, I'll plug mine too. It's Slow Paul.
Yeah. You can find me youtube.com/hello-road. I might be giving away an E38 on that channel pretty soon if I don't push it off a cliff first. And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter. I don't really go on Twitter a whole lot, but at Mr. Ethan Tufts, Mr. Ethan Tufts. That's where you can find me. And on that note, I guess that's it.